Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Robert Sykes, KetoSavage.com, and Crystal Sykes.
The one and only.
I feel like
Lady Savage.
the lighting good. Lighting should be fine. So we're on a little bit early today, which is a surprise because we're normally late.
Yeah.
So let's just wait a little bit for people to jump on here, give them some time.
I'm finally back, guys. Goodness. About time.
Back.
2 weeks with just Robert. How did you guys do it?
They preferred it. They were all like, you know what, we should just keep the lives Robert only. That's where it's at.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm sure. Anyways, are we 5 o'clock yet? Man, we're 2 minutes early.
2 hours early.
2 hours early. So let's just shoot the breeze a little bit while we're waiting for 5. Good evening. Good evening to you. How you two? Welcome back.
Thank you. Hello. Love it, Lady Savage.
So just kind of letting some time pass by while we're waiting for the 5 o'clock minute to roll around. What's up? What's up? What's up? Hello.
Wow, that's crazy. I went on your site, changed my macros, and in the last 3 days, I'm down 5 pounds when I've been stalled forever.
That's pretty crazy. I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and start. Today's topic is brought to us from the last question from last week's video, which was, do certain carbs help with digestion when first starting keto? And this is kind of a interesting question. So I'm going to tackle it, and then we'll just transition to how many carbs should you have depending on what phase you're in with keto. In fact, that's going to apply to a lot of people. So you want to start first?
No, go for it.
As far as, are certain carbs beneficial from a digestion standpoint when first starting keto, I would say you're better off with the whole rip the Band-Aid off approach. And here's what I mean by that. So whenever you drastically change your diet, your gastric system is going to have to adapt, and it's going to take between 2 and 4 weeks for most people, regardless of what shift in diet you're having. Some more so than others, but you're still going to have an adaptation phase. So in my opinion, and in my experience, if you try and, allow certain types of carbs to kind of minimize that effect, you're basically just prolonging the inevitable. So even if you're keto, for instance, and you go from keto to carnivore, you're going to have a 2 to 3 or 4 week period in adjusting your gastric system to get acclimated to that crazy shift in nutrition. If you're coming from a standard American diet and you switch over to keto, you may be able to shunt some of the negative gastric effects by including certain carbs, especially carbs that are easily assimilated, but that's not really going to, eliminate that acclimation period. It's just going to prolong it. So I kind of like the whole rip the Band-Aid off approach. Get rid of all the carbs, let your body go through that, couple weeks of gastric effects, and you minimize those effects by having proper electrolyte supplementation and hydration, and then just get on with your normal day-to-day life once your body adjusts over. I think that's much more efficient and effective, and I'm all about saving time and not prolonging the inevitable. So that would be my take on it personally. You have anything to add?
I don't have anything to add. You're just so smart.
I am pretty smart. As far as, do we need to dive into the second part of that question? The second part of the question was brought to us by Kara. We asked her what she thought of that question. She said, I'm more interested in how many carbs should I have depending on my level of adaptation. And this stems from the fact that when a lot of people switch over standard American diet and they're eating a ton of carbs, it's going to be a hard shift to go to like very minimal carbs. That's why you have the whole total carb versus net carb debate. This is why a lot of people have the keto treats, which by default are going to have like almond flour as ingredients. They're probably going to have more total carbs anyways. So in that situation, it kind of depends on the individual. You can make it like a stepping stone transition, in which case, if you know you're going to deviate from the diet completely and totally binge on normal carb-laden foods, then yeah, have a little bit of higher carbs to begin with. Low carb is better than a ton of carb, and then you can kind of transition and remove those crutches as you're able. Or if you're like me and it's, again, kind of the rip the Band-Aid off approach, then I would just go counting total carbs right off the bat and having those total carbs very low.
I feel like you guys know this, but Instagram's up there, and YouTube and Facebook are down here. So if you guys see us, look in the opposite direction. We're not just going crazy.
Crystal already is crazy.
That's true, but not going any more crazy.
Yes. All right. So I want to dive into some questions here.
Sure.
Rob says, "What up? What up?" Deb says, "Hey from Ohio." Dan Zoe says, "What's up from Arizona? Miss you, Crystal." Hello, my keto family. Welcome back, Crystal.
Thank you.
Maine, Chicago. Here we go. Good to see y'all. Just got back from a brick-fueled mountain bike ride. That's what I'm talking about. Brick-fueled mountain biking.
I get some of these up here, okay?
Hello. Oh, what you got?
Hello from Athens. Athens, Georgia. Crystal, you need to give him a kidney punch when he talks to you like that.
A kidney punch.
Hello from Cincinnati. Hello. Watching in the new sauna. Wowzers.
I'm jelly on that one. I'm jealous. All right. So Matt says, any thoughts on super starch or similar carb sources immediately pre-hit training? All right. So a lot of the super starches, what's that really popular one? I've drawn a blank.
UCAN?
Yeah, UCAN. So UCAN and other similar
Just got like a little tail back there.
super starches are basically carbs that do not elicit much of an insulin response or a glucose response, rather, and are used. The idea is that you get all the benefits of carbs without all the adverse effects. And I mean, there is definitely literature that supports the fact that you're not going to get near the glucose response from them. But I take kind of an overall view of what? Jack?
Yes.
He's whining out there.
The door is like cracked and he's just whining and like somewhat pawing at the door. So.
Yeah. So my whole take on the super starches are, even if there is some research that indicates that it could be beneficial, I feel like the benefit of not having the carbs in your system and forcing your body to truly adjust and adapt to a purely fat-fueled system are going to far outweigh those minuscule benefits from the super starches. And with most carbs, like if it sounds too good to be true, then it probably is. With most things in life, if it sounds too good to be true, then it probably is. So if their claim to fame is, look, you get all the benefits of carbs without all the adverse effects, like that sounds like it would fit that criteria, in my opinion. I think that the minuscule benefit you could get from that does not exceed the tremendous benefits you get from allowing your body to truly become fat adapted as a result of not having these alternative fuel sources. So that's the direction I tend to go.
How long are your workouts?
Workouts.
I would say mine is about an hour long. That's including my like warm up and stuff. I am more on a time crunch, or I probably could see my workouts taking about an hour and a half. But I do superset everything and try to get through my workout within a timely manner because I'm in a crunch. Robert, on the other hand, has a little bit more time.
Mine typically about an hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half.
I'd say they're probably closer to an hour and a half.
Here's what I'm doing, but yeah, that's about right. Hello from Canada.
Hi,
Crystal,
from
what's
Indiana.
up? Hey, you got my thing as your profile picture.
Oh,
that's pretty cool. Awesome profile picture, Crystal. Thoughts about healing hypothyroid due to this have hard time staying in ketosis. Thoughts on healing hypothyroid due to this have hard time staying in ketosis. All right, so you want to dive into that one?
Because I know all about hypothyroidism. I honestly don't know a whole lot about the thyroid. That is something that I slightly looked into, but I would be too afraid to mention anything about it. What?
So I don't know a ton about thyroid, but I will say this: when you lose a lot of weight, that's going to have some momentary effects on your thyroid hormone. A lot of people get on keto, lose a bunch of weight, they see a massive downregulation in their thyroid, and that could often be defined as hypothyroidism. And then they wind up going to the doctor. They say, "Hey, look, you're hypothyroid. You need to get off keto." But oftentimes, and again, I'm not a doctor. I don't want to pretend to be one on the internet. A lot of times, after they've been keto for a while, their thyroid and other hormone functions begin to acclimate, adjust, adapt, stabilize, and you reach an equilibrium. Your body wants to be in homeostasis. So if you're doing a proper ketogenic diet and you're doing it for long enough, your body's going to return to a homeostatic state in most cases. Again, there's obviously extremes to that in which, there are other confounding factors here, but I would not recommend, unless there are some other factors, not doing keto simply because you're hypothyroid for a moment in time. Not sure how long you've been hypothyroid, so I would need some more context there, but that's my take. Deb says, I'm with Stacy, hypothyroid and carnivore here. Yeah, so same end of the spectrum on that one. But yeah, you're carnivore, so you've been carnivore. How long have you been hypothyroid? How long have you been carnivore? That's interesting. I'm curious. Shannon says, hi from Indiana. What's up? And Stacey says, I'm carnivore also. So both of y'all are carnivore. Marjorie says, is that a Keto Savage koozie on Robert's drink? Close. It's Keto Brick koozie.
Way to give that away.
Way to give it away?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
We haven't shared those.
So I just got these today. And what are these, you may ask? Well, they're Keto Brick koozies. And why do we want Keto Brick koozies? Well, if you've ever ordered a Keto Brick, you probably got a wristband, which
one of the famous wristbands that everyone has 5,000 of.
So if you've ever ordered Keto Bricks, you've probably got a wristband, and some people have drawerfuls of wristbands. So what we decided to do was switch from wristbands to koozies. Keto
and if
Brick
you would like to
koozies.
thank anyone for not getting more wristbands,
so now,
me and the crew.
Starting tomorrow, with any shipments of Keto Bricks that goes out, you're going to get a Keto Brick koozie instead of a Keto Savage wristband. So there's that.
Give them to all your friends.
Hypo 20 years, carnivore since July. So Deb was not the first person to ask the question, right? It was Stacy?
No, yes.
So Deb, I'm curious, how has carnivore, being hypothyroid for 20 years, how has carnivore impacted it?
Can I read this one?
Yeah, what you got?
All right. Robert, I was listening to your podcast, and you mentioned that cacao butter has a high amount of stearic acid. Do you think it's helpful? It helps fuel fat burning.
Yes, 100%, no questions asked. Stearic acid is like, Paul Saladino's been talking about it a lot. And I don't agree with everything Paul Saladino says, but I like Paul Saladino with a lot of his principles. I'm not going to be eating honey, but I am a huge fan of stearic acid, and the Keto Brick is the best source of stearic acid, more so than what's found in tallow. Cacao butter is the main ingredient in the Keto Brick, and cacao butter is the greatest source of stearic acid that I'm aware of. So the good stuff for sure.
I walk for 20 minutes to do some kind of running for 20 minutes, and then hit on the treadmill for 15 to 20 minutes. Then about 70-minute workout Monday through Friday. There was not a question with that.
Is there a question there, Daryl? You got a question with that one? Did I miss a question?
I don't know.
I don't see a question.
Going back.
Brandon says, new Keto Brick packaging looks awesome. Thank you, sir. I'm super excited about it as well. We're transitioning all the bricks to that new packaging, so that'll be rolling out.
And he hopes for a carnivore brick.
Carnivore brick?
Neat.
So I have made a carnivore brick, and it turned out great. The thing is, they're super expensive, and I don't feel like the market would be able to support the cost of a brick if it was a carnivore brick.
Yeah.
OMG, I want one. I use one for my water bottles every morning for my walk. Well, the next time you get some bricks, Marjorie, you're going to be getting a koozie, so you'll be fixed up. Brandon says I'm about to order one now.
Do you need to hit all your fat macros daily? I would say if you have macros and you have your fat, figured out, and your protein figured out, I would say it's absolutely necessary. Otherwise, your macros probably wouldn't be what they are.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of hitting your macros. Okay. That way you can adjust accordingly.
Daryl did say, he said, sorry, is that too much? So we might need to read that again.
Walk for 20 minutes. Do some kind of
walk or run
for 20 minutes. Other hit on the treadmill, 15, 20 minutes, and then about 70 minutes workout Monday through Friday.
It's just a lot of cardio.
Yeah, especially if you're doing it every day. Is that every day?
It says, some kind of walk. It looks like every day, Monday through Friday.
Yeah, ideally, you want to leave cardio as kind of like a trick up your sleeve, so to speak, and do like a minimum viable dose with cardio. So the minimal amount necessary to elicit a response and break through a plateau. And then if you hit another plateau and you're not responding to the macronutrient manipulations, you can add a little bit more cardio to get a response.
I would maybe either take out the run walk for 20 minutes or switch it out for HIIT. I think HIIT probably you're going to burn a lot more calories and you might find a little bit more benefits if that's what you're looking for. If you are looking for something that you enjoy and you prefer to walk or run, then do that one. But I would maybe just try to think about maybe removing one of those.
It says, oh, just got a shipment. I'm sorry, Kathy, but any future orders will have this. So if you get some more, we'll get you fixed up. Stacy says, hypothyroid many years and it just took a dive about 2 months. So sticking with eating carnivore. Out of curiosity, why carnivore instead of keto? Like, are you still getting in enough dietary fat? Because dietary fat is going to help a lot with hormone regulation. So if you're doing carnivore, generally speaking, it's harder to get the fat in unless you're being strategic about it and conscious of it. So I would make sure you're getting enough dietary fat.
Hi, Crystal and Robert. Bailey said hi.
What's up? I want one ordering. Thank you, Tammy.
Robert, will you make a course for gain bulk the same as DSK? You can actually use the reverse dieting to get into a surplus.
Yeah. I mean, if you got DSK, I would do the reverse kind of concept and make sure you're in a surplus. But I do want to make a building course as well. I love the koozie idea. Well, thank you, Stephanie.
Have you ever experienced electrolyte issues when very low on carbs? Saladino's reasons for honey money.
No. If you're taking in enough electrolytes, yes. If you have carbs in your system, your body's going to retain some of those electrolytes, more efficiently. But if you're taking in enough electrolytes on a day-to-day basis and you're staying hydrated, then your body's going to be able to be saturated in the proper amount of electrolytes. You're going to be able to hit that electrolyte equilibrium, and you're going to be totally fine in doing that without carbs.
And also, like, I don't supplement my electrolytes ever. I eat salt. I eat a lot of salt, and I love it, and it's delicious, and I have never had an electrolyte issue.
Stacy says, I agree with your answers. Thank you. Well, thank you, Stacy.
If you are maintaining, what is your step count since you don't do a lot of cardio? We try to hit about 10,000 steps a day.
But that's going to be different for everyone. Everyone's maintenance is going to be different. We typically average about 10,000. We have high days. We have low days. That's probably a better average.
I really want to try the keto bricks.
We'll give it a shot. CMG, what's the best way to integrate occasional alcoholic beverages into a keto lifestyle? Have been keto for a while, but afraid that having an occasional drink will cause some issues. So it depends what the drink is. Obviously, wouldn't recommend a bunch of sugary drinks.
Also depends on what your goal is.
Yeah. I mean, there are calories in alcohol, obviously, and alcohol is going to be metabolized before, fat, protein, and sugar, or in carbs. So keep that in mind. But if you're having like a drink or two and you're insulin sensitive, and that drink or two is a, pretty clean source of alcohol, like a straight drink, or what I've been drinking when I have an occasional drink is I'll have a Zevia Coke with like a higher end whiskey. And I feel like that responds well in my system. I don't get any crazy hangovers. I don't get kicked out of ketosis, but I have one of those drinks, maybe two if I'm really feeling frisky. But that's pretty much it. So I don't go over the board. If you're going to just go on a crazy bender dive bar drinking scheme, then that's probably not going to be the best thing for ketosis.
I also love a dry red wine, and you can easily find a dry red wine like Secco Wine Club, Dry Farm Wines, Fit Vine Wine even, and there's some pretty low carb wine options there too.
We're getting all kinds of questions way behind. All right, here we go.
Hold on. We got some over here.
You got some over here?
How do you feel about keto kids and keto?
We love it. We're going to have keto kids someday.
Yeah, we are 100% for keto kids. I think that you can incorporate a little bit more carbohydrates in a whole food source if you prefer it. But kids can 100% be keto. They're actually born into a state of ketosis.
Deb says, I haven't been retested since starting. I feel good overall, except after my meal, I get extremely tired. Was OMAD, now doing 2 OMAD with the fat coffee. So you're probably getting fats throughout the day for sure. I would imagine you're getting pretty adequate source of dietary fat. I feel like that's the worst thing. If you get hypothyroid, if you get any kind of hormone problems, and you do carnivore, and you're not conscious of how much dietary fat you're getting in, that can have a negative effect on overall hormone levels. Steven says, love the koozie idea. Quick question. I'm doing DSK right now and mixing in a half keto brick a day to get me by. Do I have to count the 8 carbs towards the 10? I would count all total carbs and just be honest with yourself. Now, I will say this. Most of the bricks are like between 10 and 14 grams of total carbs. And if that's the only source of carbs you're getting in a day and you go a little bit over the 10, that's fine. My recommendation and rule of thumb is to be within 5 grams of the goal macro. So if you hit 15 total carbs with a goal of 10 total carbs, that's not the end of the day. But I would definitely count everything.
It sounds like you're having the mocha, I think, which have the 16 grams. So if you have one of the other flavors, there are flavors that have lesser carbs, and you might be able to get away with a little bit more.
Why is the chocolate malt thicker than others when melting? Because the chocolate malt has the whey protein.
Mm-hmm. I have questions over here. Any suggestions for chronic acid reflux when on keto?
So if you have acid reflux, there may be a imbalance with your hydrochloric acid, which is your stomach acid. So you could supplement with some hydrochloric acid prior to your meal and see if that makes a positive benefit. Try that and see if that kind of use it as a process of elimination, see if that's what the issue is. That's probably where I'd start, with supplement with hydrochloric acid.
I had pretty extreme acid reflux before I started keto, and it continued through the beginning of my keto journey, but I noticed if I took down some of the vegetables a little bit and upped my fat, I don't know what your fat ratio is, but that really helped me a lot. And I actually had a scope done, and there was a lot of erosion, there was a lot of discoloration and things like that in my esophagus from the acid. But actually, like 2 years after being keto, we did another scope, and it was completely gone, and I didn't have acid reflux anymore. And so I really, really, truly believe that decreasing some of the things that cause that fermentation in your system can be really beneficial, and then increasing that fat ratio as well.
Boom. My dog got my keto brick off my desk and ate part of it.
Oh,
that's not good. James says, I'm in the middle of a reverse. After a cut, I'm finding I'm hungrier now than when I was cutting. Any thoughts? That is totally normal and to be expected. When you go into a cut, your metabolism downregulates and your hunger ramps up kind of as a default to being in the lower calories. But since your metabolism is also downregulating, it's kind of correlated. However, it takes a while for metabolism to ramp back up. So when you start going into a reverse diet, you're starting to eat more food, but it does start ramping up. So as soon as your metabolism starts to increase, your hunger follows suit and is correlated to that and increases as well. So a lot of people find that they're more hungry after eating more food, which is part of that process there.
Do you use MCT oil? If so, should it be taken in the mornings around your workout for energy?
I use it in the mornings.
Yeah, you definitely can. I pretty much put mine only in yogurt or a shake because I don't like drinking it in my coffee and things. I just can't with the oil. But I would pretty much do it at any point in the day. I do my shakes and my yogurts usually in the evening, and it doesn't keep me awake. It doesn't give me a crazy amount of energy. But you definitely can take it in the morning. And I think a lot of people prefer to do that in their coffee. I'm just a weirdo.
Miranda says, I have a nerve condition that keeps my sympathetic in fight or flight at all the time. Harder to lose weight. Can ashwagandha help? That's crazy. I've never heard of that. What's the condition? That's curious. It would definitely be advantageous to find a way to get into the parasympathetic state. I don't know if this condition is such. I don't know anything about this condition. What about stuff like meditation, mindfulness? I'm assuming you probably tried all that. As far as ashwagandha goes specifically, that may help, but I can't imagine that ashwagandha would be enough to offset the negative side effects of not ever being in a parasympathetic state.
Have you ever tried to take something like GABA? That's supposed to be very calming to your nervous system. So I don't know if you're taking that. I'm sure you've probably tried a lot of different things, but GABA has been really, really helpful for me when my body has been in a interesting state.
Stacey says, eat a lot of eggs, avocado, meats, and fat. Do you track your macros to know? Because like, I'd be curious to know if your fat grams exceed your protein grams, or just kind of what your overall ratios are. It's gonna be super highly individualized, but I'd be curious to see that information from a hormonal standpoint.
I'm transitioning my 9-year-old to keto. It's tough. Start them early. Yes, for sure. We've heard that a lot. Actually, crazy enough, I was just able to see my brother's children, and one of them is 8, and she is. I don't even understand it, and I feel so blessed that she feels this way about us. But she and her younger brother feel like very strongly about what Robert and I do, and they really love it. And they constantly are asking me, like, how did you get strong, Auntie? And how can I eat like you? Am I allowed to eat like you? And things like that. It's just really cool. So I think when you start to do something and they see that your life is really positive and that you're happy and joyful and have the energy, they're going to be inspired by you. And again, they're only 6 and 8, and they're inspired by just 2 people living their normal life. And I feel so honored that they would feel that way about us. But that just goes to show that like living your life the best way you possibly can inspire those little ones near you. And my brother and sister-in-law have started. So it's really exciting to me. It's really great.
It is pretty awesome. Jackie says, coming up on my 1-year mark of keto, and it's all because of you. You truly changed my life, and have helped me change others' lives with keto. Thank you for everything you do. Well, thank you, Jackie. Really awesome. That literally made my day. Appreciate you.
What do you use for a mental or cognitive boost for a fasted workout? I used coffee, nicotine gum, and Redmond Read Light, but looking for more hacks.
For fasted, honestly, I just let my body do its thing when it's fasted. I'll have electrolytes and I'll make sure I'm hydrated, but I don't really do any crazy supplementation. I can kind of benefit just from being fasted, honestly.
Yeah, I think maybe actually, I know this sounds crazy, but maybe actually try to avoid all of those things for a week or 2, and then just start drinking black coffee. And I have had issues with nicotine, so I'm kind of against the nicotine gum prior to your workouts. I know a lot of people have tried it and things, but it's a hard thing for me. But I think if you actually remove a lot of the things and let your body feel its natural rhythm and then introduce coffee again, you might actually feel a little bit more energized just from that 1 cup of coffee.
109 Outdoors says, keto bricks for the backcountry is absolutely where it's at. I love it. I definitely am going to be using mine during the hunt season.
What would be the reason for sleepiness after workouts?
Sleep. I mean, you did expend a lot of energy.
Yeah, make sure that your electrolytes are on point, your water's on point. Are you eating enough food on the regular daily? Are you eating enough fat on the regular daily and protein enough on the regular daily? There's a lot of things that can go into that, a lot of like even hormonal things that can go into that. But I would look at the very basic, simple things first, like electrolytes, water. Am I eating enough?
Matt says, you guys use specialty salt, Redmond's, Kona, etc. Redmond's for the win.
Yep.
Steven says, doing DSK and incorporating half a brick a day after my liquid fat fast. Do I have to count the 8 carbs?
Oh,
is that like a repeat question?
They must have missed our answer.
Yeah. I would definitely count all the carbs for sure. What is the name of the coconut yogurt? So Kalina is really good, and what's the other one? Kite Hill. Kite Hill is really good. Kite Hill and Kalina.
Yeah. Kalina is an almond.
No, Kalina is coconut.
Oh, that's right. Kite Hill is
almond.
Almond. Yeah.
That's the condition, I'm assuming. CRPS. I'll have to look that up. I've never heard of that one. I'll have to look that up. I'm not good with acronyms. What is that acronym?
Didn't know who Crystal was sitting next to. Robert forgot his signature flat bill. That's true. He did.
I've been trying to dress up and look the part a little bit more lately.
He has been dressing up every day, and then here I am in like this big comfy sweater.
I ask so many questions and never say thank you or never say thanks. Thank you so much for everything you all do. You have made a major positive impact on my life. Thank you again. Well, thank you, James.
That means a lot. Thank you.
I appreciate you, brother. We're happy to do it.
Complex regional pain syndrome. Interesting. I'll have to look that up a little bit more.
Pain condition where your brain is perceived pain that is irrational. I'm assuming heightens cortisol.
Interesting.
I would definitely think that would heighten cortisol. And And then, yeah, she just messaged also the chronic regional pain complex.
I feel like I've actually heard something about this, but I don't remember why.
I don't know. This is interesting.
That is very interesting.
The brain is a funny thing.
Yeah, the bodies are
a good water goal to hit daily? I have a hard time drinking plain water. So a good rule of thumb with water is that you want to have 5 clear urinations a day. So that's a good rule of thumb.
Count your urinations.
Count the clarity of your urination. So depending on how many times you go, you want to at least have 5 clear ones over the course of a 24-hour period. And most people probably have at least 5 urinations. If you don't, then I would at least try and make the ones you have, make sure they're clear, or drink more for sure.
Also, really great ways to get in water is these are the Topo Chicos. Nope. Yep, Topo Chico. This one is grapefruit. Robert has the lime. That's a really great way. And then you can also add things like the Stir or like Mio or things like that to help you get in a little bit more water if you really need the help getting it in. Or add lime or add lemon or add something to your drink to make it a little bit more.
Put the lime in the coconut and mix them both up.
Welcome to my life, everyone.
Miranda says, or RSD, so I guess that's a different name for it. Shout out from Houston, Texas. What's up, Andrew from Houston? All right, y'all, we are going to start cooking dinner. Do we have another question over there?
Yeah, just one last one. If I'm eating 3 pounds of beef a day, do I need to supplement with creatine?
All right, so let's make that the question for next week.
If I'm eating 3 pounds of meat.
No, let's talk about. Have we talked about creatine yet?
I'm pretty sure we have. So just answer the question, then we'll ask if.
So yes, I would definitely still supplement with creatine because it's super cheap, and your body needs to be basically hyper saturated with it. Like your muscle tissue needs to be super saturated with creatine monohydrate. And since it's so cheap and easily absorbed, and there's so much research on it, it's better to just hedge your bets and supplement with it. Even just like a consistent 5 grams a day. 3 pounds of meat is a lot, but there's not a lot of creatine in meat. I mean, there's just not. So I would go ahead and just supplement that and play it safe. Reflex, sympathetic dystrophy. Let me know what you think. Having a hard time losing. Yeah, I'll look into that for sure, Miranda. Have other health issues, trying to heal, PCOS and Lyme. You've got the gamut to run there. Yeah. I'm hoping that this carnivore is really great because it's elimination style, allows you to kind of figure out what your body responds well to and not. But I would definitely make sure, especially with you having all the different issues, is to make sure you've got enough fat coming in. Hello from Vancouver, Canada. What's up, Brian? For the nerve condition, have you ever tried this big word here? I'm going to try this. I got this word. Phosphatidylserine. It's pretty good, right? Phosphatidylserine. Normally derived from soy, but some sunflower versions are available now. PS helps lower cortisol. So y'all try some phosphatidylserine and see if that helps. Thank you. All right, so let's dive. Is this another question?
I miss you. Just wanted to say thank you for making such an awesome product. I eat half a brick every day, and it gets me through tough shifts at the hospital. Thank you for y'all's dedication.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
KetoCon may be canceled, but Texas still needs some Keto Savage and Lady Savage.
There you go. All right, so
this is a good question, maybe.
What you got?
I want to gain more mass. Should I do a targeted keto? Oh, we have talked about carbs. Targeted keto or go back to carbs? Neither.
Well, if you just want to gain more mass, then just eat carbs because you can gain a lot more mass. You're going to gain some water retention weights. But if you're wanting to actually, if you're wanting to actually gain quality lean mass, there's not going to be any inherent benefit in just going deep on the carbs. So no need to do that.
And it sounds like we're being really hard. We don't mean that. For me, I'm really passionate about it because I started bodybuilding and keto at the same time. So all the muscle that I've built has strictly been on a ketogenic diet. So I'm very passionate about people using this as a really sustainable way of gaining muscle, gaining mass, and being really healthy through all of it.
Jeremy says, any recommendations on a brand for creatine? Main thing you want to do is just get a simple creatine monohydrate. Crea Pure is a good source, and a lot of different brands use the Crea Pure trademarked creatine. You can honestly get what's that really cheap brand that's just super clean? Bulk supplements on Amazon. They've got a simple creatine monohydrate. It's probably going to be your most cost-effective option. All right, y'all. So we need a question for next week.
Next week's question?
All right, the next person to submit a question will be our question that we're going to start off with next week. And what's funny is everybody waits to write out a question. And then I sit here and wait. I'm like, come on, y'all, give me a question.
And then they all come through.
Everybody writes a question. So I just need one question, but we need a question. So somebody, who is the lucky person? The next question that rolls in will be next week's question.
Is it okay to go over fat macros?
Is that going to be our next week's question?
I don't know.
Let's make that our next week's question. We'll dive deeper into that, but that's a good question.
Is it okay? How about we do you have to hit your fat macros, and is it okay to go over your fat macros?
Or go under. Let's talk about that. I like it. That sounds like a good question.
Sorry, you have to wait till next week.
It'll be a worthwhile answer, though, I promise.
And it'll all be saved if you can't catch us next week.
Yes. All right, y'all. Take care. Toodaloo. Have a good one. Adios.
Bye, guys.